Welcome to a different video. It's another Overwatch 2. It's another Overwatch video, but not really. This is going to be a farewell note, a sad introspection on what could have been in terms of Overwatch 2 PVE and some of the expectations I initially had when I heard about it, and the example I will give in why it could have been one of the greatest things in gaming and why now it's probably just one of the greatest disappointments. And as if you're a co-op player or interested in such things, what you can do beyond that. If you like this content, do like and subscribe. If not, for me, for the zagling. Alright, so let's get a bit into it. Again, it's going to be split into three parts, which is several parts, which is what happened in Overwatch 2, cancellation of PvE, what PvE was supposed to be, why it was cancelled, and again some examples. So referring to this article from The Verge, which came out, just this week, it talks about PvT, the PvE mode for Overwatch 2 was cancelled, and he cites many reasons. The link to this article will be there. But to cut a long story short, he claims that they tried to do too many things, lost focus, and they basically decided to can it in favor of a more consistent live service game almost. I'm not going to get into that. But let's look into what this really means. Now, for those who are uninitiated, again, so what Overwatch 2 PvE was supposed to be is that if you followed Overwatch 1 or the Overwatch scene, what they had promised was that they were going to have this, story mode where you would have your talents. No, your heroes, this is Trace, for example, with different talents that she could choose, getting stronger, fighting against this horde of Omnics that you would take on, and you would go on these epic missions. There are gameplay missions as such.
You'll have to fight.
This is actually the
One
trailer.
city at a time.
Yep. Highly replayable co-op, all these things, which honestly this announcement just says was cancelled. You can actually watch a the full Overwatch 2 story mission called Rio de Janeiro is actually pretty sick. This mission is fun. This mission was good. In fact, it's one of the best boss fights. Again, links to this video will be down in the description. This is a great boss fight where instead of fighting a boss, you actually had to knock out a reactor room, and against these null sector guys. It was so cool. So apart from just having the boss, you would also have like these things climbing down on the surface. Yeah, but however they're scrapping all of that in favor of a more seasonal based approach, which was a damn shame because it had a lot of promise. And this stuff, as I mentioned, was a lot of fun. For example, again, this is Tracer, but this is Maze loadout. Another thing that was not really mentioned in a lot of things, but was something that was showcased back in 2019, was the ability to have these, and I don't even know their name, these items, but pick up items that you can get during a mission, and that would change the way you play. Like this ice barrier could be really useful when rezzing people. And and the PvE mode, it was fun, it was polished, they had a full playable level, which I played at BlizzCon. PvE was fun. PvE was really fun. But it also promised to fix some of the fundamental problems they had in Overwatch 1 when it came to PvE. The best example I have of this is the ultimate, because let's take Widowmaker for example. Her ultimate, which is Inva's Sight, allows you to see through walls, but that does not help if you're playing PvE, because you want additional damage, you want other things apart from just situational awareness. Now if you're playing PvP and you need to know where one of the 5 enemy heroes are, important. But you needed to do something, right? You needed to either make this a lot faster, maybe make it, a quasi-passive, an ability rather than an ultimate, and that is what these levels and talents, if you will, promise to give. But that's all been scrapped. Now, the reason, honestly, when I read these two articles, I was honestly not too surprised, is because over the last few years, Blizzard really has been having a series of problems It stems before 2019, but it got really, really bad post 2019. So let's look at it. The first major thing that happened, in case we forgot, was the lockdown. So on March 19, 2020, California issued a statewide stay-at-home order. And a long story short, look, if you're watching this, there's a chance you remember. If not, this happened. Basically, a lot of businesses had to either shut down or work from home, which created a lot of disruption. One thing that is worth noting is that this created a lot of disruption for companies who suddenly their employees could no longer go to the office. It then created a second round of disruptions where a lot of companies, Blizzard being one of them, tried to force their workers to come back to the office when the lockdown lifted. So a lot of this created a lot of issues for the company. In addition to that, their game director, Jeff Kaplan, the man who went on stage at BlizzCon 2019, left in April 2021. He basically retired, didn't really say much. Again, link to this article and the source will be down in the description. But he was the man who seemed to be really, really driving this vision. This, remember, replaced by Aaron Callan, who is the game director who um, made the announcement that it was cancelled. Now, I don't know whether it was his decision. I don't know if it was high up. I don't know the inner workings of Blizzard. Well, Activision-Blizzard at this point. But he's the guy who basically made the announcement. I won't say gave the order. So Kaplan left in 2021. Now, the real other big issue that they faced was that in I believe June of 2021, they faced a major lawsuit about, well, it's on the screen, isn't it? And they've been hit with scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal, to the point that it's basically rocked the company. So all of these items has probably shaken the Overwatch boat hard. And as a result, instead of getting the aforementioned story and hero mode, we're getting, well, I say players are getting a story missions. Now, the latest one at the time of recording is this called Starwatch, but based on everything I've read, again, my friends who honestly we were supposed to play with kind of left when the announcement when this announcement was made. But I don't actually see anything that actually mentions story mode. It just talks about PvP elements. Again, we'll have to see what they're gonna deliver. I don't know if I'm gonna try it. Although I'll be very honest, a lot of my friends who have played this game have just left. So this is kind of what it's boiled down to, and the reason that this is such a shame is that Blizzard already had the perfect formula to create a thriving PvP, environment, as well as one that you can play with your friends. And that game within Blizzard was Starcraft 2. Starcraft 2, which had a thriving, even up until time of recording, esports and 1v1 scene, also had a very strong co-op scene. Oops. Yeah, so what you had in StarCraft, another Blizzard title, was that you would have your, well, yes, you had your campaign, which let's be fair, Overwatch didn't have, but you would have a versus mode. You would have a versus mode where you can go on, you can play 2v2, 3v3. In addition to that, you had this wonderful co-op mode where you could pick all these different commanders, heroes from the story, and play them with another player online. And it was reported in, I believe, 2018 that co-op actually had more players than 1v1, which is not a surprise. The real crux of this is that Overwatch could have had the formula to become the perfect game of PvP on one side and PvE on the other. And a lot of people from the PvE would then come over and try out the PvP because people don't want to be, so competitive. All players who are from the PvP side who, want to take a break, want to just chill with their friends could go over to the PvP side. The formula was right here. And they dropped the ball. They completely and utterly dropped the ball. Now, if you want to know more about the StarCraft side of things, I have done a series of videos on co-op, for example. But we'll get to these interesting other videos at the side. But the issue with StarCraft is that in October of 2020, before all of these scandals really went into high gear, of course the lockdown had restarted. They actually made an announcement that the StarCraft 2 community was no longer going to be releasing paid content. So the last co-op commander, which was Banks, if you saw, was released, and that was that. So on the one hand, to be very, very honest, StarCraft is a dead game in the sense that it's not getting updates. But at the same time, it means that we're not going to get heartbreaking news like this anytime soon. That said, if you are looking for a good co-op PVE experience, may I recommend Vermintide? The best 4-player co-op is left. Yeah, this game is awesome. This game has everything. This game has tech trees. This game has replayability. It's got like a whole bunch of different modes. It's not free. It's a paid game on Steam. That said, it does go on sale quite often. If you want to take a look at it, I've done a bunch of Vermintide 2 videos as well, rather than talking about go and give the game a try, go and watch some gameplay, go and follow them. This is a developer whom, at least for Vermintide, Darktide had its own issues. At least for Vermintide, quite a bit. The other that I would recommend is Stormgate. Now, the reason that the StarCraft 2 team left was to form their own company called Frost Giant Studios, and they're making this new RTS game called Stormgate, which is what they have promised to have their own PVE mode. And as of time of recording, almost at the same time, very coincidentally, they announced that they're having their first closed testing. If again, this game is not out, this game is not done. However, they have promised great things, and these are the people that created that co-op mode in StarCraft 2. They pioneered, they gave the Overwatch team the formula to make a proper PvE experience alongside a 1v1. They had all the data, everything, and well, they cancelled it. But that same team, the same people, the same team, the same people are here making this game, and I have honestly pretty high hopes for it. In fact, if you go to the First Giant website, there, former director StarCraft 2, where is he? Kevin Dog, the lead co-op designer of StarCraft 2. He's the guy who made that PvE experience. By the way, StarCraft 2, free to play, go test it out. It's a different game. It's not an FPS. If you want an FPS, there's Vermintide. But yeah. By the way, this is actually part of a linked video, not a two-parter. But if you're watching this, I've actually done another video summarizing the information about the closed testing, what you can do, what you should do. And the short answer of what you should do is that you should go sign up for the beta and wishlist on Steam. Again, it costs you nothing. Oh, bonus points. Stormgate has been announced to be free to play. So I have no qualms about promoting this and asking for what do they call that? For pre-orders, because if you wishlist or pre-order, it still costs you nothing. There's no like money out of your pocket. Just give it a try, because the developers, these people said that we're gonna make a game, it's gonna be good, it'll stand on your own feet, and if you like what we do, you can support us directly through purchases. So alright, this is kind of done with the video. It's been more, well, it's a bit more just my thoughts about what could have been in Overwatch, and that I'm honestly sad and disappointed that the aforementioned PvE mode has been cancelled. That said, I saw the writing on the wall, all the bad news from this to this to this to even the StarCraft 2 team leaving. But there is hope at the end of the tunnel. My personal recommendations, if you want a game right now, PvE FPS, Vermintide. If you're willing to wait, give Stormgate a try. And me too. Like and subscribe. We're done.